Here we are, another track event, and it's points race this time. The semi-finals will be coming up shortly, and after the Kieran events, we are for sure in for some entertaining action tonight. We have two groups, followed by the final afterwards. Obviously, two 16-man lobbies, 32 players. The top 8 go through to make a 16-man final, if I remember correctly. So yeah. Some of the big favourites in either group. We'll go through Group A first, and we've got Groot, fresh from his bronze medal in Kieran, is the first seed in Group A, followed by Frere, Giviti, Dina, Steinmetz, Bergerstein. Got Jeff there as well. Swegson, Ivelios, Vina, Naut, Finn, Lukinovic, George, if he turns up, Shadow, Dadamora, who is your silver medalist from Kieran, if you missed that, and the Russian Goga. In Group B, we've got Slomy, Deanley, The Sim, Max Bourne, Wadeland, Leo Philandri, Ghosty, DeFred, Basso, Tristan, Arnorius, Mendez, Solipe, Kingmaker, AS Gaming, and Evert. So those are the qualified players who will be fighting it out for a place in the final. As we can see now, the Group B lobby is starting. Very blurry, can't lie. But yep, we'll be following Mendez in Group B. Obviously, the Spanish rider. He's got a Spanish rider alongside him there in Solid Pain. And of course, the points race is a battle of who can obviously score the most points across the various sprints. Double points are on offer for the last sprint, but got to be careful, obviously, of saving your red bar for crucial moments, trying to avoid blocks, and all in all, following the right wheels. So, as we wait now, 400 metres before the first sprint, I would imagine it's quite a cagey affair. The first couple of sprints, people are eager to score points. You'll for sure have a few long-range attacks, as we see just exactly that. Slomy launch with 250 to go. And I tell you what, he's caught them napping there. I think he might just hold on for first if he gets a good block off here, but it looks like Kingmaker's going to overtake him. Wadeland's going to overtake him, but it's Tristan de Jong who will win the first sprint of tonight. Slomy settles for 5th. He didn't seem to move too much there to try and block the opponents, but yeah. It looks like we are going to have to restart the race as well, because AS Gaming did he crashed in the first 3 laps, so this will have to be restarted. Heartbreak for Tristan, who won the first sprint there, but the rules are the rules. ASG is well entitled to his restart. We do have the action of Goga's stream here in Group A. I can't lie, it is quite blurry, the stream. So try and make out best what I can see. Okay, there we go, it's better. So we've got Gifiti and Frere having a little friendly chat at the front of the group. Quite a few different nationalities in this group. Got a few Russians, a few Dutch players, a few British players, a few Belgians and Frenchies. Got a Czech rider, I believe, in Bergerstein. As we see now, Goga very, very early, but I don't know what's happened there behind, but it seems like they've given him the full parade of winning the first lap. First sprint, should I say. See what the results are behind. It looks like Shadow is going to collect some points alongside Dadamara. Potentially Finn? No, Bergstein actually. Bergstein finishing really strongly there is going to take 4th place. And to make matters worse for Finn, he takes a fat block in front of from behind from Goga. There's quite a unique sprint there. Goga kind of just launched at 300 to go, and well, nobody really decided to go with him. He's going to pay for those efforts eventually, though, because obviously, as you can see, he's only got tiniest little bit of red bar because he used it fully there. But that's the right thing to do. If you know you're going to win the sprint, you got to use your red bar. But he's got a little bit of catching up to do. Still got a few laps to get back onto the group, but pace definitely isn't as slow as he would be liking at this point. So we can see Gifiti's at the front with George. Swagson's there as well. I got a little bit of British team play going on at the front. Gifiti goes. Pretty much carbon copy of what Goga did, but I tell you what, it's not a carbon copy response because they are all over that attack. We've got Jeff chasing in the wheels, Shadow as well. Let's see if Gifiti manages to get a couple of blocks off here. And he doesn't, and it's George who takes the 5 points. Or is it going to be Dadamara? No, I think George has done just enough there as the camera pans around. So we've got George on 5 points, Dadamara on 6 points, and Goga on 5 points as well. Swagson and Lukinovic also scoring in that sprint. Gifiti tried his luck. No doubt spent quite a lot of energy trying to do that. Was unsuccessful with blocking anyone there to score points, but I'm sure he'll be back at it again. I think what the camera angle is missing out here actually is that John Vino is quite far in front of this peloton. So this is definitely not an ideal situation for someone wanting to win this sprint because John Vino is gone. He's gone off the front. Nobody's chasing. And as you can see in the chat as well, a few people are already saying that he's gone. Goga's the first one to launch after him. I'll tell you what, it's another brilliant attack from Goga. It's a really, really strong attack from Goga. He might even catch John Vino on the line here. And he is going to do. Goga, commanding lead. Commanding lead. And it's a Dutch army that follows him behind. And poor John Vino scores 0 points. He's pretty murdered his bars there to get that. Trying to recover his bars here is Goga. Trying to get back to the front. There are quite a few people who haven't scored a single point here yet. A few of them do include Brute, Gifiti, John Vina, who we saw tried to do that early attack. So I'll tell you what, Goga's playing a blinder here so far. He needs to get back on though before this sprint is launched. As we see Finn again. This early attack is proving very, very popular amongst the players in this lobby. Goga for sure will try to recover his bars for the next sprint. Got Gifiti, who launched into the slipstream of Finn. George is on the wheel though, and he's going to try overhaul both of those. He's going to get blocked, and Goga's going to come down the inside here. I don't think he's going to take any points, but he very, very nearly did there. And it's going to be Bergerstein, the Czech rider, to get 5 points. Shadow, another 3 points. Swagson 2, and Lukinovic 1 point. So as we end the third to last sprint, we are preparing ourselves for the penultimate sprint as we see a little bit of a lag spike in the lobby. Frere and Group both off the front at the moment. Chased down by Shadow and chased down by John Vina now. Hard to see what's happening out front, but it looks like Root and Flair are going to have to pull off some blocks here if they want any type of points. It's going to be John Vino to score. Finally, he scores. And look at that. 4 riders all battling for second. It looks like Dadamora is just going to get second. Goga again. Third place. Scoring brilliantly here. Look at the gap. Goga on 12, Dadamora on 10. And then next they have 5 points. Massive gap already. Goga and Dadamora for sure already through. You'd presume if those people on 5 points can get a favourable finish as well to this sprint, they will also go through. There are many people with 0 points still, however, and they need to get at least a second place here to get 6 points. I think if you're on 0 points and you get a second place in the final sprint, you'll probably go through. Goga taking it easy at the back here. John Vino is also there at the back. As we see, is that Shadow trying to launch early, followed by now Bergerstein. Shadow's trying to hold on here, and we see Jeff flying through the middle. Is looking good for the Belgian player. Can he hold on? He avoids the blocks. Goga takes the block, and it's Steinler who's going to take the sprint. Wagson and George are both there, and I tell you what, I think all 3 of those players will definitely qualify, and they do. What a great result there for Steinler. 0 points up until the last sprint, but when it matters, he qualifies. So we have quite a few players on 5 points there. I tell you what, they all go through. John Vino, Shadow, Bergstein, George, Swegson, Steiner, Goga, and Danamora will all pass to the final. Commiserations to the other players as we now move to Group A. Or is it Group B? We move to Group B, yes, my bad. And it is the action of Mendes. Current situation is Max Bourne is leading on 10 points. He will feature in the final. The Sim on 7 points will most definitely feature in the final. We've then got Dinley, Ghosty on 5 points. They will also most likely feature in the final. AS Gaming on 3 points. Needs to do a few more points, as well as Mendes also needs to do a few more points. Like in the other lobby, there's quite a few players on 0 points, as we see a very weird sprint here where everybody's at the top of the track. And our Norris is going to fly through the middle, take 5 points, and pretty certainly book his place into the next round. So good for him. Ghosty also scored another 3 points. He will most certainly go through. And is that Dinley as well? Yeah, Dinley as well on 7 points. He will also go to the next round. The final. Quite a few players still with a lot of work to do. Leo Fulangri currently on 0 points. DeFred on 0 points. Ever, Basso, Tristan, who won that first sprint, all on 1 point. Slomy on 2. And a few players on 3 points as well. So still to play for those final qualification spots to a sprint final. As we approach now the final sprint, 3 players out front. A small advantage, nothing too crazy. And it's Tristan who looks to launch on the outside, the Dutch player. With the Sim and Max Bond going through. Tristan takes a massive block there. He won't be featuring in the final. As we see now, DeFred. DeFred trying to go for that qualification, and DeFred will most certainly pass to the next round. Wadeland? Has he done enough, Wadeland? I think Wadeland qualifies to the next round. We'll have to wait and see if Mendes can make it through as well on 5 points. In the other lobby, 5 points was enough to qualify, and he does. Mendes qualifies. The results are wrong, but Mendes qualifies, Arnarius qualifies, DeFred Dinley, Ghosty, Max Bourne, The Sim, and Wadeland are your 8 finalists who will join the other group. What an enthralling couple of sprints there towards the end. We had a couple of players saving themselves. Steinle, who had 10 points, will definitely take that advantage into the next round. Obviously, it's important to say that there are multiple races tonight, so those people who are currently in the qualification spot will still have to work on their points. However, the winner of each round does go through. So I was mistaken before, but it is just Dinley who goes through from this group. But like I said, the other people who are in the top 8 are definitely putting themselves in the shop window to get a place into the final. As we should be back now with Group A. Back to Group A. We see the action of Goga approaching the first sprint again. Interesting to note that the winner of Group A in the first round was, if I'm not mistaken, I'll have to double check. So the winner in Group A was Dadamara with 12 points, but like I said before, those guys in the top 8 who were scoring 5, we had some players scoring 9 points, we had Steinle scoring 10, Goga scoring 12, and Goga scoring another 5 points, takes his total to 17, and I think if he doesn't do too bad in the next few rounds, he will definitely be through. Finn scoring 3 points, with Ferreira and Newt scoring 2 and 1. After 2 races, that's Finn's first lot of points as well, so he now moves on to 3 points if you add his total to the last race. As we see Shadow, very, 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 very early attack. Almost 600 metres from the line, and Gifiti's on hot pursuit. George is in pursuit as well, and we see Goga as well going for this. He knows Goga, if he scores just a few more points, he will make it to the next round. George, though, looking good to try and win this sprint. He gets a block, though, from Gifiti. That is not good for him. And Swagson, coming from absolutely nowhere, takes the sprint. And he will be surely booking his place into the next round, but it's Jeff, actually, who nabs the 5 points on the line. Swagson holds on for second, though, and takes 3. So he is now on 12 points. Jeff adds 5 points to his total, taking him to 6 points after the last race as well. Gifiti is doing quite an interesting points race tonight. He's chasing down a lot of attacks. He's making a lot of attacks himself, but he hasn't actually scored a single point yet. So, yeah. And he's down at the back of the group now with Goga following him. Goga, who will almost certainly be trying to save some of his bars for the next sprint, unless he finds a good opening here. As we've seen now, trying to go looking over in chase mode. See George as well trying to get through, but it looks like he's been blocked there. And it's John Vino, the Frenchman, who's going to come over the top and take 5 points. Ivelios doing well for 3 points. And Guy Fiti scoring his first points of the evening. Interesting to note now that with John Vino winning that sprint, he takes his total to 10. It's very good for him. Ivelios opens his account on 3. As we wait now for the next sprint, there's a few people complaining in chat about Bergstein, but to be fair, those people complaining about Bergstein actually have quite significantly less points than Bergstein. So they can complain all they want, but he's currently sitting on 7 points after the first race added to the total of this one so far. So, well, he's in a fairly okay position. I don't think he's necessarily qualified just yet, but 7 points after 2 races definitely puts him in with a good shout. As we see now, trying to go again with the early attack. And it's Goga shooting up the inside here, giving a slipstream to Ferreira. But it's actually... No, is it going to hold on? No, Ferreira, with that slipstream from Goga, wins the sprint. And now holds on for second. George with 2 points and Goga with 1 point. John Vino complaining about lag. It's not the first bit of complaining he's done tonight, actually, the Frenchman. He's currently sitting on 10 points, if you add his totals up. As I think at the front there is an early attack there by Ivelios, quickly followed in the wheel by Shadow, and Groot and Ferrero having to close that down. Still a long way to go though, and Goga picking up some slipstream here. Seems to be just floating past every rider. Playing an excellent evening of points races, Goga. See John Vino sliding down the inside. Oh, and Goga takes it. And Groot's going to take 5 points, is it? Yep. Going to be tight between Lucky Novik and John Vino. And Groot picks John Vino to block there. So Lucky Novik takes 3 points, John Vino with 2, and George again, chipping away, getting 1 point, 2 points, doing decently. He's now taken his total to 12 overall. There are more people with some pala in the chat. Ferreira this time. Another one who's not afraid to complain. Don't think he's very happy with Shadow. Shadow seems to be quite sprightly today though. He's seems to be jumping on quite a lot of the early attacks. As we prepare now for the last sprint, how decisive could this last sprint be? As Gifiti goes for it, Gifiti goes. Lucky Novik, is that a reaction? I don't think it is. He goes now, Lucky Novik with John Vino right in his wheel. John Vino with a massive slipstream now. He's going to do well to not win this sprint, is John Vino. And as he comes around the outside, bit of a lag spike, and Goga's done just enough here to win the sprint, and that means he qualifies. Finn takes a few points, George takes some more points as well. But Goga, wow. And as George says there, really, really impressive ride from Goga once again. Dominant in this sprint. As we move now to Group B. As we see currently, Mendes going on the attack. 150 metres to go, and I think he's going to win this sprint quite easily. And the Chargers are onto him though, and he's... Oh, I think that was the commentator's curse there. Completely missed the block on Ghosty, and Kingmaker did seem to ghost through him. The Sim, currently on 10 points. Defred on 5. I think Leo Philander is also on 5 points. He needs to do a few more points because he didn't do a great first race, if I must say. Ghosty also on 5, Kingmaker on 5. So we head into the penultimate sprint here. It's a little bit cagey. Not many people wanting to launch earlier, unlike in the last group. Everyone seems fine to sit in the wheels. The Sim has a little glance. Does he go? He doesn't go. Slow me attacks. Slow me attacks. Max Spawn into the wheel. And it's the French Armada at the front. Kingmaker. Wadeland coming through on the inside, and Wadeland takes 5 points. Kingmaker in second will take another 3. And Solipe taking 2 points. Not bad. So, it is all to play for in the last sprint. Some of the guys who might be able to qualify, well, at the moment everyone can still qualify because the current leader, the Sim, only has 10 points. So everybody still can qualify. But it does look like the Sim is in a good position here. Kingmaker on 8, Wadeland on 6, Defred and Leo Philander are on 5. A sprint win here could be massively important for any of these riders if they want to make the final. So we come in now, 300 meters to go. The Sim lurking at the front. Mendes on his wheel. As we see an attack by Leo Philander. An attack by Leo Philander. He's chased down straight away by the Sim. Lomi's trying to get on top of that as well. Mendes, can he squeeze his way through? No, he's going to get blocked. Entrance denied. And it's Basso who's going to fly through and take the win. And I tell you what, Basso qualifies himself for the final. Don't think he scored many points in the first race, but I tell you what, that's all you need to do. Win the sprint at the end and qualify for the final. Ghosty as well, putting himself in a very good position there with 11 points. We move now back to the other group. In this group, the main favourites still to qualify. Swagson, George, both at the top of the leaderboard at the moment with quite a few points. We will be following the perspective of Finn, as of course Goga qualified. Ferreira complaining for lag. I think the day Ferreira doesn't complain in track hobby will be a day for society to remember. As we see Groot now zigzagging all over, trying to attack Finn as well, trying to follow that move in Shadow as ever, always near the front when it matters. Is he going to hold on? The answer is no. And it's Evelios, or is it Groot? I think Groot's just done enough there, and he has. Evelios in a close second place, takes 3 points. John Vino on 2, Shadow on 1. Be interesting to see if any of the high point scorers of the first two races can get a few early points in here to try secure their position in the next round. Quite a bit of movement in and around the peloton here, if you will. Front group is all back together. There were a few people maybe lurking at the front trying to go for an early dash. I think Gufiti might try his luck again here. He has been blocked right to the back of the group, and he's now attacking early, doing his usual, but I think he will get caught. I mean, he's lurking right at the top of the track and comes down to block one of the Russian players, but each time he comes through and takes the easy 5 points. Gufiti ran on the outside, taking 3. Federa coming through for 2 points, and Group for 1 point. Quite a few players complaining about lag. George and Bergstein. I don't know if they're joking or not, but it seems to be quite a laggy lobby. I mean, to be fair, on Finn's perspective, it doesn't seem to be that laggy. So, but it could just be Finn's super fast internet. Just see Gufiti lurking at the front in his beautiful Brazilian jersey. By far one of the best NC jerseys, I think, is about. John Vina goes for an early attack. Finn's going to go into his wheel and try to follow Finn into the slipstream of the Frenchman. Is he going to take a block? He's not going to take a block. Can he win the sprint? No, he can't. Nout is good. And he is good. Takes the 5 points. Tell you what, Nout might be gold by the end of the evening if he keeps these sprints up, because well, he might qualify for the final. I tell you what, he's definitely not a bad sprinter in these bunch points race events. So who knows? Nout might be gold. Newt might be gold. As we see now, riders bunching up again, waiting for the sprint. Are there going to be any early attacks? Shadow always loves an early attack. Will he make it himself though, or will he try to follow one? And he's going to follow one, as if by magic. Looking over, it goes down onto the bottom of the track. Shadow right on his case. Nout is there. Can Newt come around? He can't, and it's going to be Swagson who cleans up first place. Groot is looking good for second place. And I think with those 5 points, Swagson pretty much assures himself into the final. Approaching the penultimate sprint, and John Vino launches, and there is zero reaction from behind. Finally, Newt attacks. And I think he's good for second place, you know. Jonvina's going to win easily. Newt is going to come in second pretty easily as we see the photo finish camera swing to Jonvina. You can see the advantage he had. Quite extraordinary. Now holds on for second. I think that was Frere taking 2 or 1 points. Lukinovic trying. He's trying a very, very long attack. And of course, who else would it be to try and chase Shadow and Goofy? But they've slowed up again. Lukinovic is still out there in front. They need to remember that. It's a very, very audacious attack. I think he's gone way too early, but if they keep on messing around like this, I think he will take the 10 points. Somebody has got to chase him down. But I think he is running out of bars, and it's Gifiti trying to up the pace here. Slows down again. As you can see, Lukinovic has no chance to win the sprint. Is he going to block someone? No, he doesn't. George trying to hold on. He blocks Groot, but it's Frere who comes through. It's Frere who comes through. And it's Frere who takes the win. And I think that will be enough for him to see himself into the next round, into the final. And it is. He wins in style. Gifiti rage quit. Mark that down, Emea. Mark that down. Gifiti rage quit. Warning in the chat. Minus 50 points. Unlucky. As we flick back to Group B. And we see Tristan winning the sprint. Slomy, currently on 6 points. Ghosty. Tristan, both on 5 points. Solipe, also on 5 points. Kingmaker on 5 points as well. So, still all to play for. As we see Slomy with a very long attack here. 300 meters to go. Can he hold on? Mendes in a really, really strong position. He's getting a beautiful slipstream off Maidland. He's going to come around the outside. I think he's moved up too far there, but Ghosty takes the sprint. Ace Gaming comes in second, does he? I think it's going to be for the Sim who gets second. Ace Gaming gets 1 point. Again, all adding up to the total. I think if you're currently near the bottom of the rankings, you're really, really starting to debate now. Do you go for this sprint or do you wait for an all-out attack, an all-out sprint for the final 10 points on offer? The debate that I think some of those players will be having in their head right now. Do they wait for the final sprint or do they try their luck in this sprint and then hold on for the next sprint as well? So we see Max Spawn lurking at the front. He's wanting to go for that early attack, but I must say there's quite a few people already jumping onto his wheel. One notably being Wadeland, who's going to continue that attack actually. Leo Philandri right up towards the front. Wadeland sits up and just, well, I don't know what that was, but yeah. You see Mendes flying round the outside. Mendes coming towards the front here. Is he going to win the sprint? He is going to win the sprint. Mendes can host, and Mendes wins the sprint for 5 points. Evert taking another 3 points. His total will now be on 5. Sorry, I think it's the sim actually, isn't it? People are using the wrong jerseys. This is why, guys. You pick the right jersey, so I know who's who. I think the rankings for the first two races actually are quite close. So I think even at this point, if you win this final sprint, even if you're currently on 0 points in this particular race, you could definitely do something. As we approach now the final sprint. The Sim lurking at the front. Arnorius also is there. Ghosty, primed and ready. As we see, Wadeland is the first one to launch the sprint, the Frenchman. Wadeland on the front. Can he hold on? He isn't going to hold on. Mendes coming through on the red line. And I think it's going to be Tristan to take the victory here. Not necessarily the victory of the evening, because I think Ghosty's still going to have more points, and he does, but Tristan winning the final sprint, I think he does enough to be one of the best of the rest, if you will. I think he does just enough. Slowly on 10, Mendes on 7, Solipay on 6. We'll have to wait for the final calculation to see what people have as far as points are concerned. So just recapping of the Group A. Dadamora won the first one, Goga won the second, Ferreira won the third. Daimler, John Vino, George and Swagson make the final. And Newt or Nout, you'll have to tell me how to pronounce it. We'll have to wait to see if he's the best 8th player, because he's currently sitting on 16 points. He needs to wait and see if that is a good enough score to go through. Finn, Ivelios, Groot, Gifiti, Jeff, Bergerstein, Shadow and Lucky Nervik are all out. So, the interviews, I don't really know who's going to join us for the interviews, but we do currently have George with us. How was it, George?
Hello. It was alright actually. Usually lobbies of 16 active non-AI players is quite messy, but surprisingly it was rather clean, this lobby. Thankfully Swaxon and I managed to barely go through in the end after
Yeah.
3 solid rounds. So yeah, I'm quite happy with my performance.
Do you rate your chances in the final? I know people regard points race as quite a lucky event.
Yeah,
Is your looking tonight?
it is indeed about luck a lot, as far as I've noticed throughout this tournament. But I mean, also on the previous round, I always was there or thereabouts. I never won a match, but I was
Yeah,
always scoring high points, which
that is
made me
correct.
reach
Yeah.
the final. So, I mean, I'm not hoping for a title necessarily. I would be very happy with a medal as well.
And who do you think is the main favourite going into this race? Probably the hardest question I'm going to ask you, but who do you think is the favourite going into the final of points race?
Literally anyone from those 16 players.
That is the answer I was expecting. This
Oh, it's Naut.
is Nout.
Yes.
Okay, that is
Hmm.
good confirmation. Anyways, good luck in the final. You are
Sure.
flying the flag alongside Swagson.
Yes.
So yeah,
Are
break
you
away.
through, Joe?
Do your best. I am not through. No, I fell at the first hurdle.
All right.
Yeah, that's why people call it the luckiest event because my luck wasn't in. It is what it is. Good luck anyway, George, in the final,
Thank you.
and yeah, get yourself a medal.
Surprising results that I can see in these two semifinals, like Gifiti, ASG, Leo Falandry, Shadow, Groot, Finn. Many surprising results, as well as qualified players. Anyway, I'll go continue studying because exam tomorrow. Ciao.
Yeah, ciao. The only interviewee of the night in points race. I think the organisers should give George a few more points there. But please stay with us. We will be ending the stream, but please stay with us for the final. So yeah, see you guys.